call the meeting of Howell Township Council to order. Diane, will you please read the opening statement and roll call?
This meeting is being held in accordance with Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice has been provided in the manner prescribed by law. This agenda is complete to the extent known, and formal action will be taken. I'll begin with a roll call. Councilwoman Fisher?
Here.
Councilman Nadell is absent this evening. Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Here.
Mayor Leggio?
Here.
Thank you.
Executive session, Resolution 25-225. Is there a need to go into executive session, Mrs. Bennett?
There is. For the reasons for, in connection with contract negotiations and personnel.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
Second?
Councilwoman Fisher?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Fisher?
Here.
Councilman Nadell is absent this evening. Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Here.
Mayor Leggio?
Here.
Thank you.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Amen.
Do I have a list for citizens?
Each person shall first give their name and address to the clerk. The council should be addressed as a collective body and not as individual members. Each person shall have one turn to address the council, and comments shall not exceed a total of 5 minutes. Speakers shall be notified when their time has run, and no time extension shall be permitted.
Greg Fodell?
Can you turn the microphone on?
Does that work?
Yes. And I'm sorry, your name again, please?
Greg Vodale, 8 Petal Patch Trail. Good evening, council. I just have 3 things that I'd like to just reference tonight. I know one of the ordinances proposed for tonight for the first reading is 025-33. I think this is a ordinance that was brought up as a reaction to what a resident noted at the June 24th meeting. I just want to know if I'm correct or not. I hope that this 025-33 is a first step in developing a litany of ordinances and amendments that the township attorney has currently developed to mimic what Valerie Vargas had noted in her proposed ordinance that she submitted to the council on July 15th. I would like an answer, if possible, by the council after the public comments about the status of Valerie's proposed ordinance. Second, I saw that Jackson Township recently adopted a new ordinance for stricter rental housing rules, fines, etc. I would hope, after reading them, I hope that Howell does not follow any of these new measures approved by Jackson. Inspection fees and registration fines are too small. Children today could afford those fines. Inspection frequency is set to annual. As I noted at the public meeting on June 24th, once the township is alerted of a concern at the property, I believe inspections should occur as often as 3 months until the landlord has sold the property. In addition, those increased inspections should be at all properties owned by that landlord or LLC. I would ask that you comment on this once the public section is closed. And third, I'd like to bring up a question regarding the role that the township attorney has regarding proposed ordinances. In noting Valerie's proposal about 2 weeks ago, I don't know why it takes residents to develop proposed ordinance wording and amendments. What is the role of the attorney in this? I would hope that the attorney would be proactive and not reactive. When the town council or attorney are reactive, you or the township as a whole becomes labeled as possibly racist or bigoted, and thus are subject to the whims of the few who have forged their own position to the township to exploit loopholes in the ordinance and disregard the lifestyle of the longtime residents for their own self-gain. You hear our concerns. I would hope that the township attorney would reach out to fellow township borough attorneys in New Jersey or adjoining states and see what they are considering or have developed. Whatever happened to brainstorming with your colleagues? I don't see any new ideas coming from the attorney. I would ask the same from the council members and that you would fight for us. Thank you.
Paula Samuel?
How do I sign up?
No, just come up last after I'm done.
Good evening. My name is Paula Samuel. I live at 2 Driftwood Drive. Can everybody hear me? Okay.
A little louder.
A little louder? Okay. I have 3 words for everyone here at this meeting. Don't move out. There's a movement happening to stop the illegal rentals, nuisances, and noncompliance of local ordinances which threaten our safety, public health, and general welfare. I feel that the 2 last meetings with the town council has given us hope that they will support us in our efforts, and I am encouraged that by working together we can achieve our goals. Over the last 4 years, our town has gone through an enormous demographic and cultural change, which unnecessarily brought bad feelings and a clash of cultures. Many of us feel that some of these bad feelings and divisiveness were brought about due to the selective non-enforcement of town ordinances in various instances. Our anger and frustration has been directed at those that are not mandated to abide by the same ordinances that the rest of us have to abide by, and therein lies one of the problems. When I wanted to move my fence farther out into my side yard, I was not allowed to because it would have gone into the town's right-of-way. Yet because of a newly adopted ordinance created for a select group of people, an e-roof boundary system, including a pole, would be permissible within that same right-of-way. A pole that is part of a culture that I do not share, yet would be faced with every day. This ordinance definitely ignored the need to respect and take into consideration the rights of those that do not share that same culture. If this e-roof ordinance, as well as previously adopted and newly adopted ordinances, are administered keeping everyone's rights in mind, future bad feelings can be avoided and perhaps even heal the ones already present and allow the integration of different cultures a chance to flow smoothly into any established community. Now, before some of you start with the word anti-Semitism, I come from Jewish heritage. My husband's family are also of Jewish heritage. I have some very wonderful Jewish neighbors who I consider friends. I was brought up to respect people of all religions and cultures. However, these issues we are facing have nothing to do with anti-Semitism, and I am so tired of that perception. It has to do with some individuals and LLCs of one culture not accepting the people that are not of their own culture. I wish that we could all stop judging each other by one's faith or culture, but it's hard to do so when one culture deems necessary to disassociate from others, despite moving into a community of vastly different demographics and cultures other than their own. This disassociation instills the feeling that people not of their culture are second class, as when it was inferred in an article published in the Asbury Park Press back in 2019. Does this second-class labeling justify illegal rentals and noncompliance with previously adopted ordinances? Is this second-class labeling another reason for the bad feelings that have developed over the last few years? I would think so. Being judged as second-class by the same people that have moved into one's community certainly would warrant bad feelings for anyone, and the cause for many to move out of Howell in search for the quality of life they had before, and to not have themselves and family members judged and called goyim, as I have experienced. Howell has been the home to many of people who have Howell has been the home to many different races, ancestry, and cultures, and yet previously, over a long expanse of time, we've never experienced such feelings of divisiveness anger, frustration, judgment, and fear of losing one's quality of life and culture, as we had felt within the last few years. These emotions are real. I see it in the faces of my neighbors and hear it in their voices while they try and hold back the tears when saying that they're being forced to move out of their homes for safety reasons, quality of life, and let's not forget loss of businesses and loss of jobs. Because the small business they owned or worked at was forced to shut down because of unaffordable rents implemented by LLCs. These previous business locations remain vacant for months and even years, creating a distressed and depressive look for our town. Is this the objective for our town, to become second class? The town council needs to do something about protecting Howell's businesses as well. It's a human right to live in a clean, safe, and peaceful environment, but with that right comes the responsibility to abide by government laws and regulations. It is up to the town council to ensure that the town's ordinances do not alienate anyone regardless of their class, culture, race, and religion, and more importantly, to enforce them equally for all. The ball is now in the township's court. Just don't put those basketball hoops in the right of way. That's a little joke from those who moved here in the early 90s. Thank you for listening.
Rich Krug? Krug?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good evening, Town Council. I don't...
Name and address?
Richard Krug, K-R-U-G, 4 Sammy Drive,
Thank you.
Howell, New Jersey. So, I was very moved at the last meeting, especially by you, Mayor. I'm addressing you personally, because I thought a lot about what you said, and I believe that a lot of what's going on with respect to rentals and the movement of a lot of people into homes is deliberate. I'm sure of it. And in the city, because I am from New York City, we would refer to it as blockbusting. They get you so aggravated that you eventually move out, okay? And I'm not moving anywhere. I'm going to die in that house over there. And I feel sorry for the people that have to clean it after I die, because I have a lot of stuff, as George Carlin said. But I want to talk about the house across the street from me, which, again, it's absolutely a synagogue, okay? The garage door has been removed from the building. It's got a man-door entrance with a number system to access it. And we counted last weekend about 26 men who went in there over the course of about a half an hour. So I'm also told by somebody who made a mistake and offered this information up to me that they pay to attend there. There's a fee involved. And so these are R3 use groups for the single-family homes that are there. But now it's you're meandering into the business use group. And I did speak to one of your code officials who said to me, I won't mention his name here, right? Is that correct, or?
Yeah,
Don't mention the
Don't
name.
mention his name. He said to me that changes the whole game. But he hasn't done anything about it, and I don't know if he's had discussions with you. I know things don't move so fast. Everybody's very impatient, but it takes time to do stuff. But a lot of time has elapsed. I now have a structure across from me at 7 Sammy Drive in the backyard. It's approximately 12 feet or more in height. It has a roof on it, and we know now that it has a roof on it, which should no longer make it an enclosure or a fence. It's now bona fide under the UCC as defined as a structure. And so I don't see anything happening. My suggestion is, if we can't pin it down for some reason or other, any official that works for the town, plumbing, electric, building, fire, can post a stop work order on that structure until it's been defined and checked to see whether or not they did apply properly for stuff. So it may be built partially, but you could stop them from continuing to work. And when I'm not sure of my own job that I retired from, I'll tell them, listen, you have to stop. Stop, let me research it, let's find out what needs to be done here, if anything. Maybe it's nothing. And then we'll remove the stop work order. But at this point, it's a structure, and I would call it an eminent hazard, because I just don't know how it's put together. I confronted the contractor who was working there, and he said to me, I don't need a permit. He doesn't know what I do for a living. But he said, I don't need a permit, so I think that was pretty funny. What else did I want to talk about? I think that's basically my issue. I just don't see much changing. I invited my Orthodox family across the street from me to come to this meeting tonight. I don't believe that they're there. And I got a very, very weird remark from the wife who said to me, they hate us. And I said, why would you say that? I said, I don't hate you. I'm fixing your kids' bicycles for them. Why don't you come and see what the concerns are? Maybe you could help by telling your friends, don't park the cars on the wrong side of the street. We had a very nice new Courtney, traffic agent for the police department come through, because I called them. They were driving through extremely fast.
Richard,
Yep,
your time has ended.
time's up. Okay,
Thank
very
you.
good. Thank you very much, all right, guys?
I don't want to miss this. Lazzy Agu, Laura? I think. I'm sorry if I messed it up.
Everyone butchers my name, it's all good. Laiz Aguilar, 24 Bluebird. So I have two questions about the ordinance for today. The ordinance says occupancy shall not exceed 10 individuals exclusive of the operator. Is this number regulated by the state, or is that something that's regulated by our ordinance itself? And the reason I ask is, I still think this number is pretty high. I mean, if one of these homes are near my house, I'm not going to have a parking space, neither my neighbors. And the second one, when it comes to the CSLRs, our homeowner is going to be formally notified if one of those homes are going to be implemented near their residences, because I think they should be, but that's just me. The second thing, aside from the ordinance, I wanted to address mainly with the community. I've been doing real estate for over 10 years. I work as a real estate paralegal, and I'm also a realtor. I see a lot of hatred towards the township because people say the township is allowing LLCs to buy our homes, basically. The township has zero control over this. I just wanted to let everyone know, literally zero. If I sell my house today and I get an offer, John and Mary are buying my house and Mary's pregnant, wonderful, they're going to raise their families in my home. I accept their offer. We go through the process. If in that contract it says that the buyer reserves the right to take the title under an entity, being an LLC or any other kind of entity, the township doesn't know. The township has no control. The township will know the property is sold once the deed is recorded on public records. And that's the bottom line. What the township can and should do is approve these ordinances, increase the fines, because you gotta hurt people where it hurts, that's their pocket. So I think the ordinance today should be approved. The new ordinance regarding rentals should be approved, and that's what the township can do and should do. And I hope the town does the right thing.
Valerie Vargas?
Hi, good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Valerie Vargas, 48 Grist Mill Road. Just a short message tonight. I want to say that I appreciate the township's effort in introducing Ordinance 2533 later this evening. It appears to have taken an important step regulating sober living residences, boarding homes, and rooming houses, particularly with regard to overconcentration and licensing standards. That said, I'd like to raise a few questions on behalf of myself and the many residents who have reached out to express concern over the broader issue. After I shared my original proposal online, it received nearly 80,000 views. I've since received numerous calls, messages, and comments, overwhelmingly in support of taking action against single-family homes being used as multi-tenant, room-by-room rentals. I want to also say that I was filled with hope and pride for so many people that were responding to this, that offered to help, so I am glad to see that it brought a little bit of peace to some people. I'm seeking to clarify how that ordinance addresses that particular concern. While it clearly addresses licensed sober homes and rooming houses, what about the unlicensed investor-owned homes in single-family zones that are functioning like multifamily dwellings with multiple unrelated individuals occupying rooms under a shared lease? Does the township intend to create or revise an ordinance that addresses these properties, especially when their use appears to match Howell's own definition of multifamily dwelling, even though they're located in single-family zones? And how will the ordinance help code enforcement distinguish between a legitimate single-family rental and a de facto rooming house? Would it be possible to strengthen enforcement by clearly defining what constitutes a single housekeeping unit and establish standards that landlords must meet to prove lawful occupancy? Is there a plan to create a companion ordinance that gives Howell the legal foundation to cite, fine, or restrict landlords who exploit these loopholes? And lastly, with so much public attention and support for addressing this issue, what steps can the township take to ensure residents feel heard and that meaningful action is taken to preserve the character and safety of our neighborhoods? These questions are not meant to criticize, but to seek clarity and accountability. The residents of Howell are asking for leadership that protects our community and closes the gaps that have allowed this issue to grow unchecked. Thank you for your time and your continued service.
Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Daniel Regan, 260 Casino Drive. So my name is Daniel Regan. I'm the president of the New Jersey Coalition of Treatment Providers. I'm also the CEO and founder of Healing Us Centers, and I am also a resident of Howell for the last 25 years. I've seen Howell go through tons of changes over the last 25 years from being a kid, running around in the woods, streets going from dirt to traffic. There's been tons of changes in this town, and I've seen that this has been an issue. I saw the Asbury Park Press release about July 24th ordinance proposal, and I was concerned about the language that was in it. Because of the rooming and boarding houses in general, what people...
You're working off an old copy of the ordinance. There is no boarding house reference in this ordinance.
I see the new ordinance that's presented today, that what I was getting to is my concern about the language that was proposed or put out there beforehand, because I've seen this time and time again. As president of the New Jersey Coalition of Treatment Providers, I firsthand work legally.
But she asked me to stop
we'll
it.
restart it.
Okay, sorry.
Already reset it.
Okay.
Take a minute off his time now.
Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome.
So I work legally with multiple townships and municipalities to protect the legal bounds and rights of people in protected classes. That's what I do. So I know firsthand what these ordinances look like, and I was worried about rooming and boarding houses and attacking recovery residences specifically, because I work in the behavioral health field. Now, I have worked with Howell on multiple initiatives with the police station, with the township. Howell used to be fourth in overdose deaths in 2016. Through our initiatives, we've done a lot for this town to turn those statistics around. Part of that is offering recovery services here. I do acknowledge that you making this ordinance to protect this class in a way, but create zoning requirements for it, I feel that it's an infringement on the rights of sober livings and being able to be in neighborhoods. The whole point is to assimilate people back into life, right? And this ordinance, for everyone to know, it does nothing for what you're trying to achieve. It does absolutely zero. Because it doesn't protect the illegal rentals from happening. And there's also 5 other types of boarding homes that are not even in this ordinance, okay, that people don't understand. There's boarding home A, B, C, D, E, and F, okay? This only pertains to F. So it does nothing for what's going on. Howell doesn't have an ordinance issue, it has an enforcement issue. We have ordinances to protect these things. We have ordinances to protect these illegal rentals from happening. I think simple amendments to rental certifications to stop subleasing from happening. When I apply for a rental certificate, if I'm doing a short-term rental or whatever I'm doing, right? And I know short-term rentals are illegal here, but if you can apply for a rental certificate and you have to put a lease with a name on it, if the house has other names on it, it's an illegal rental. Put a fine to it. There's also an ordinance called property nuisance that has not been enforced. It's been in our ordinances since, I think, 2021. And it's 135-6. Okay, and what this does is that if us citizens call on a house multiple times within 60 days, the house goes on a probationary period. Every call after that is a fine that compounds. And it goes back to the landlord, and it goes back to whoever's renting that property. I talked to multiple code enforcement agents in Howell Township. It has not been enacted one time since 2021. Why are we not using these laws? Why are we talking about sober livings right now and not utilizing ordinances that we have? And this is my problem. So we're making more ordinances that probably won't be enforced, and we're also attacking protected classes that have nothing to do with this issue. So that's what I have to say. I hope that we can begin to actually look at the issue at hand and not rope in services that are being provided in Howell that have changed the statistics here. So thank you.
Go ahead.
Jim Barden, 11 Diamond Lane. I'm sorry, I wrote this. I just got back from business trips. I wrote this on a plane on my phone, so I might have some spelling errors here. So, the Leeds School of Business conducted a study was published recently on the impact of converting single-family homes into rentals, saying that we have pretty good information and evidence that there are negative impacts of change in these neighborhoods to renters, and the prices in neighborhoods overall start to decline as this happens. According to the study, the conversion of owner-occupied homes to rental properties drives negative social and economic impacts in those neighborhoods, including declines in property values, lower property maintenance, meaning, this lack of pride of home ownership, making improvements, reduced voter and community engagement because it's transient and not as engaged in the community, as well as increased crime. The incident Wawa is an example of just that, and for me and many people in Howell, that was the last straw, and rather than move away, as many residents, including my friends, have done, we've wanted to stay in Howell. We've been here for 30 years. My kids live in Howell, and now I have grandkids who also live here as well. So I want to see us fix this problem, and I would offer my time in some way if I knew I could help fix the problem in some way. So the impact of this rental trend is obvious, and Howell Township has been caught sleeping as this problem has been growing around us for years. So this is what they are doing, but how are they doing it, and why are they being allowed? It's mortgage fraud to obtain a mortgage as a single-family residence with the intention to make it a rental property. There's preferential interest rates given when a home is owner-occupied as a single-family residence. If they can come after Trump claiming that he defrauded the bank for a mortgage, which obviously was not true, then how much more so should action be taken against these investors who are truly engaged in mortgage fraud? Why isn't there a single suit being brought by a township against these investors? The banks didn't sue Trump. It was the government that brought a case against him. It was a political charade, but why cannot the township attorney do the same thing, investigate, file suit, be a thorn in the side of these investors? Some can say that this is presumptuous, that this isn't what the investors are doing. But a couple of our neighbors recently sold their house, and for our neighbors right across the street, up until the day they were closing, they were being told by the couple who was expecting their third child that they were very excited to move out of their basement that they'd been renting, paying $1,700 a month, and they need the space, having a third child. 2 days after closing, the house was put up for rent for $4,500 per month, which is also a violation, to the last speaker's comment, about Township Code 17829E, which is illegal to advertise rental property that is not permitted. I'm going to presume no action has been taken to find the investor. I shared this information as well with the mayor for some follow-up, so I would like some follow-up for myself and for the residents of Radiance. As I've been engaged with them in the development, there's 125 homes, and many of the residents are very concerned about this. I wouldn't say all of them, but some of them are renters. Now that same day I found out about my neighbor's property going for rent, I had a phone call from the realtor that sold that exact same house asking me if I wanted to sell my house. I turned the conversation to me asking if the family who bought it and was very excited to move in was actually going to move in. The realtor told me that they had never intended to move in, that the mortgage was too expensive for them versus the $1,700 a month they were paying, and then they would have $1,000 of extra child care once their third child was born, and that it would be 1 to 2 years before they even would move in when their husband's salary would increase. Something didn't sound right, so I kept inquiring, how did they get a mortgage if they could not afford it? And she tells me that they showed enough income but didn't want to pay the mortgage as it was $5,500 per month. For those keeping score at home, do the math. A couple gets a mortgage for $5,500 a month. The bank deems them as being able to afford it. The couple then decides it's too expensive for them because they're paying only $1,700 a month in rent. Then they decide to rent it for $4,500 per month. That's a loss of $1,000 per month, plus supposedly another $1,000 in child care. What great scheme do they have going on that this makes sense? Unless the intention was to rent out to as many people as possible, $500 to $700 a person, and make more than $5,500. While I was away in business yesterday, a neighbor messaged me saying there was 3 cars that pulled up and 10 people came out in the dark and left the lights off of the house and roamed through the house to inspect it and then left 5 minutes later. And again, I think that 10 is way too many to have that in an ordinance. Point is, the main thing's wrong with the scenario, and likely many non-compliances against ordinances, fraud against mortgage companies. What about homeowner insurance? Is it a rental property or is it a single-family home? Not to mention, are they claiming it's rental income, and is that tax fraud?
Thank you.
Anyone else? Going once. I'm seeing none, so have a motion to close public comment, please.
Motion to close public comment?
Second. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Okay. Mrs. Bennett?
Yes, Mayor. First, I'd like to address the actual ordinances on today. Sorry. Can you hear me now? Yes. Okay. First, I'd like to address the ordinance that actually is on for today. As everyone knows, this was a special meeting. So that was the ordinance I could get it done as quickly as possible. At the August 12th meeting, I believe it's changed from August 19th to August 12th, there will be a memorandum from my office, including multiple other ordinances. But I would like the community to understand there are ordinances and good ordinances that are on the books currently, and some of you have acknowledged that, that we need to just look at enforcement issues. They're already there. July 2024, we put in a scheme of ordinances in connection with rentals that really was at the forefront of that. But there's better, we can always evolve and do better. Now, someone asked my role. My role is to do what the council asked me to do. And the council has asked me to listen to you and to go through these ordinances and see where we can be stricter, content neutral, and help for the residents to quietly enjoy their homes so they're not infringed upon. That is what I'm going to do. In connection with the ordinance that we have here, Mr. Reagan, I actually know you. I don't know if you remember me, but I worked with your mother, Lynn, and you guys do a wonderful job. This ordinance, however, is strictly about zoning and incorporating standards as a conditional use in residential zone so as to make sure there are not clusters of cooperative silver living residences, and that they do indeed have DCA licensure. And I promise this ordinance will be enforced. In connection with Jackson, someone brought up some recent, I have not seen what happened, but I am collaborative. And in connection with my background, there are two attorneys in each county that are part of the League of Municipal Attorneys. I am one of two of Monmouth County. So I am collaborative. I work with the entire state. I will do my best to do what the council's asked me to do and to get you a thorough review of what we already have, to work with code enforcement, and to put wherever I can content-neutral enforcements and content-neutral enhancements to what we already have. But I don't want this community to think that we don't already have things on the books. We do, and we are going to enforce them. And we will be enforcing them. We can't go back and forth. I'm trying to. Comment is stopped. I'm
Miss,
sorry.
let her finish, please.
This is only my second time covering these meetings. I am working with code enforcement. I'm working with Matt Howard. I'm working with as many as we cannot talk. We can do a lot of things at the same time. We can dance at the same time. We can't talk at the same time, okay? I'm trying to get a grasp on where we are, and I was pleasantly surprised in terms of the ordinance that we already have on the books. I did see that we did not have any content-neutral guidance in connection with the sober living homes. We have just introduced it the second time I'm here, and I have taken all the materials from the last meeting, and I'm assimilating them, and I am going to be proposing new ordinances. And we'll move forward for this. And we're going to do it in a content-neutral, constitutional manner.
May I? Can we respond?
You can.
Okay, so a couple of things. You are heard. You are definitely heard. We live in Howell too. We're experiencing the same issues. If you look back, a lot of you have not been coming to meetings. But when we were first, at least when I was first hired, one of our biggest issues, we said, are the rentals. And one of my first questions was, let's just increase the fines. Well, tell that to Governor Murphy. Go tell Trenton, because our hands are tied. We are not allowed to raise the fines. He caps us. He is protecting, and he has been protecting the wrong people, not the taxpaying citizens. So please understand, and Matt Howard, our director of community development, has tried to do everything, and is still trying in his power, legal power, to enforce the ordinances that we do have. A couple months ago, Councilman Nadell, had come up with some really good rough drafts for new ordinances and to tweak some of the ones we had. Then we had the murder. That was June 5th. Then our township manager resigned. He took a different job. We have been going through a lot in the last 2 months. We've all been feeling it, as you can see. But with Ms. Bennett, we're very hopeful that we're going to be able to get those ordinances ready, hopefully by the next meeting. And again, please keep in mind that Ms. Bennett has just been with us for the last 2 meetings. I wanted to address something else. Code enforcement. We have amazing code enforcement officers. We made it a deliberate intention last year to hire more. We did. We budgeted. We got more code enforcement officers. They're limited too. Again, because of the sanctuary state that we live in, we are limited to what we do. We can't go in the house, right? If they don't let us in, we can't go in. And again, Mr. Howard with his code enforcement team, they have been working their tails off to do as much as they can. Believe me, I would love to triple, quadruple the fines. We can't do it. Murphy won't let us do it. Something else somebody brought up. I don't know if we can answer the question. Number of residents, is that decided by the state or the township?
It's guided by the state.
Okay. What else? Oh, mortgage, the resident from Radiance, and I have a lot of friends in Radiance, talked about the mortgage clause. Councilman Adele had brought that up. We passed an ordinance. The problem is, they're getting mortgages from certain mortgage companies that turn around and write them a letter saying, oh, no, it's okay, you can use it as a rental property, even though the clause is you have to live there for a year. So again, there are loopholes that we have to deal with.
That's correct.
I just want the residents to know that we hear you, we are living what you are living, and we are trying our hardest, and now we're fortunate enough to have Ms. Bennett on our side. I want to push the envelope a little bit with our ordinances and save Howell.
Harold?
No, I think we've been, I believe for the past 3 years, we have been saying the same thing over and over. And hopefully, some of the things that are definitely out of our hands, like increasing the rates for things that are done wrong, legal fees, that we just simply can't. And I know 2.5 years we said that, 2.5 years ago we said this. If we could raise it to $20,000, it'd be $20,000, because you're right, people pay attention to their pocketbook. When the law says you can't, you just can't. If you can't force your way into someone's home to inspect it, you can't. I will say, and I say this every time we talk about this, when you see something that you feel isn't right, an anonymous call gets very quick action, because at that point, even if the police were called, they have to look at this as a safety issue and what can be happening inside if there's children. They have parameters outside of what we have. So when I say don't be afraid, I know a lot of people don't want to, make their neighbors angry. Well, I don't know how to say this other than what my father would say. What they're doing to you doesn't seem to bother them. You're angry at what they're doing. If the only way to stop somebody is to turn them in, turn them in. Make the call. You have to bring the light to the doors of the people that are infringing your rights. And
Please, it's being recorded.
so it's important, it is important that you don't stop. And,
Raise a conflict of interest issue between Ms. Bennett and Mr.
Sir.
Levine. You know
I'm sorry,
Let her finish, please.
I just still have the
Sir, we
floor.
cannot talk
You can
among-
certainly speak to Ms. Bennett after the meeting, when, the time is appropriate. Look, we're really trying very hard to maintain decorum and being, acting in a swift manner, and we still have to obey the law. You have to obey the law, we have to obey the law.
Woman, can I just address that, though?
Sure.
The conflict of interest belies logic in that he just argued against the ordinance that I have just proffered. I have just put forth an ordinance that he argued against. Because I know his mother a decade ago, I have proffered an ordinance that he just spoke against. He does not want this passed. He made it very clear.
Will you dispute that you stopped the clock for him?
What?
No, I stopped the clock because I was speaking.
Well, how come it went on?
It was a mishap.
Thank you.
It was a mishap. Had nothing to do with him.
I just think it's important that we try to stay focused, and I realize sometimes things happen and maybe you feel like you're being singled out. I'm sure sometimes things are said and people that sit on the dais feel they're being singled out. I'm sure you feel you're being singled out by a neighbor that may act inappropriately in your mind. And I'm sure it just goes on all the time. People can never agree on anything. And that's why operating within the parameters of the law and our ordinances, and we do have ordinances on the book. Sometimes they're challenged and we find out that we are wrong. Sometimes we get inaccurate information and we change it. We admit it was wrong and we try to fix it, and we do fix it. But this is going to be a continual work. Continual change. As the climate changes in any town, rules change. As the population changes, the rules will change. As Trenton changes laws, our rules will change. So, sometimes you can only dance as fast as you can dance, and we really are trying, and I'm sorry that it doesn't meet the expectations, but when the law changes, we have to change. So, I will say this again. If you have questions that you feel are not being addressed here, you can certainly call the attorney. You can certainly call the acting manager. You know, the phones are available to you anytime. It is frustrating, and for as frustrating as it is for you and your community, it's about 50,000-fold for us because there's a lot of rooftops in Howell that we're trying to, satisfy. So we hear you, we understand what you're saying, and we're really trying, but please don't give up hope. Please don't stop, watching and making your calls and trying to make things better, because we won't stop. But there's been some misinformation even tonight. There's a boarding house, there's group homes, there's sober living, there's rooming houses, and these are all different things, and all have different rules. So if the words are used interchangeably, and then, you may hear an answer you don't like, the rule for a boarding house or a rooming house is different than sober living. So we have to be very careful when we use direct names of the area that you're talking about, because everything is dictated by different rules. So when sometimes you see an ordinance, and you're thinking it's a group home. Well, a group home may not be a sober living home. Because it isn't. It just simply isn't. It's two different things. So sometimes just making a call to the attorney or to the manager, can clear up a small misunderstanding, and, then you go, oh, that's it. And often it is a misunderstanding. I mean, we don't always agree on everything, yes, but often one small misunderstanding or something that's said that's not totally correct, we hear it, and that's what stays with us, and then we build, we all do this. The newspaper says one thing, it must be true, it's in the paper. Well, I've learned, just because it's in the paper doesn't mean it's true. But it's difficult, and we do understand. I think Councilwoman Fisher was really trying to, again, bring home the point that it's not that we don't care, we are really trying. And a new avenue has come to us with some of the ordinances, and even as was brought up by the public a couple of weeks ago.
Could everyone in the back please
It's important.
No, enough. Everyone good?
Well, I hope what I was going to say wasn't that important to you. Thank you.
Last couple meetings, I had to take a Xanax to calm myself down. And now, moving forward, I'm going to have to probably pop 2 or 3, at these meetings, because we're 3 for 3. And, Mr. Barden, I spoke to you personally, saw our kids went to school together. That list was handed over to code enforcement. They are working on that list, okay? I just have not spoken to you about it until it's complete, so just so you know, okay? Mr. Howard and his team are out every single day. I can't, express that more than even the past couple meetings. They are out. Now, at certain homes, are they having problems getting in? Of course. Are they having problems notifying the landlord by their name or under the LLC or the management company? Yes. So they are struggling in different areas. And to Mrs. Vargas, a couple weeks ago, the last meeting, with all this introduction of possibly doing this, possibly doing that, Mrs. Bennett and her team are going through all that, and hopefully for the 12th, August 12th, because our meeting now has changed from the 19th to the 12th, we are going to introduce some new stuff that legally could be done, because some of the stuff is borderline unconstitutional. And I know that's not popular with the residents, because they feel, listen, I have my house, you have your house, I have rights, you have rights, and we want our neighborhoods to be kept up well, we want safety and security, we want quality of life, okay? Last week, after the meeting, Ian and I, in this building, sat down with 2 Orthodox gentlemen who live in Howell Township with their families, okay? And they were very adamant about the frustrations that are in this room. And they agree that they want the quality of life in Howell Township, they want their blocks where they live, their friends that live all over town, okay, Howell Central, Howell South is the main area, to stay well-maintained and keep their property values well, okay? We sat down with them, okay? They showed us an article from a magazine in Lakewood, from two different, a magazine and I think the Lakewood Scoop, that was, in the article said, from, I don't know which rabbi or whatever group said, you know, if you're buying homes in whatever town, respect the neighborhoods, okay? Don't over-occupy them. It had a litany of things in this article that they brought to us and they showed to us. So this small group of bad actors is what we're calling them. Like I said to you last meeting, whether it's a regular landlord or an LLC, because that's just, you know, to protect themselves, or a management company controlling the LLC. It's a small group, and with these new ordinances hopefully coming, we are going to, you know, hammer down on it as much as we can, okay? And listen, no one's ever going to be 100% happy, okay? I could tell you from sitting in executive tonight and hearing what I heard tonight, okay? We have to follow the laws. And some of that stuff goes back to the state, right? So like I told you in a couple other meetings, you have issues, call your assemblyman, call your senators, call your congressman, okay? Because a lot of that ties into a lot of the stuff that's going on. And, you know, it's, you know, the quality of life is our main concern, right? The safety of our neighborhoods is our main concern, okay? And when I go down these streets and I see what I'm seeing, okay, to make sure that, you know, we're not just being told something and wasting code enforcement's time, all right? I see it firsthand, okay? And it's frustrating. But like I said to you, code enforcement goes, they have a procedure that they have to follow to build a case, and if they could build a case and enforce what we need to enforce, that's how it goes along. Now, do they go to court and we get struck down in court sometimes? Of course. You know, the fines. Some of the landlords or whatever don't care about the fines for whatever reason. You can fine them, you know, as much as you want, which makes no sense, but, you know, but we are limited to what we can do with the fines. I can just tell you that we're trying, okay? And I know for some of you that's not good enough, all right? But we're trying. And I also want you, you know, to understand something. We all got to live together, okay? And respect one another and be kind to each other. And, you know, I know that all sounds great, and, you know, when you say it, you would like that's how life is going to be. But we know that's not how life is, okay? Certain people don't like certain people don't like this guy, this girl, their religion, their race, their creed, whatever, all right? We can't control that, but we can control our actions to the way we deal with our neighbors and deal with, you know, the community changing, okay? I just, you know, I've had it up to, you know, up to here with everything. You know, I've been here for 7 months, and it's been a lot. And Mrs. Bennett has assured me in executive tonight that we're going to work on this, okay? And whatever legally we could do, guys, we are legally going to push forward. And I know you don't want to, you know, some of you don't want to be patient with it, but it's not code enforcement's, you know, job. I mean, not their job. It's, you know, when they go and they do these inspections, if they can't get in, if it's months and months and months of being told no, 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 then maybe we got to get the state involved, okay? And Mrs. Bennett has said that tonight, which we'll talk about the next meeting. If we can't get into the homes, then we get the state to come down and they'll do their process. And, you know, this handful of bad actors, you know, I don't know how many homes it is exactly, you know, it's roughly whatever, you know, 100, whatever it is. I don't even know if it's that or more. You know, we are dealing with it. But I just ask everyone to just to continue to be patient. August 12th, you want to fill the room again? Fill it again. Okay, that's why we're here. That's why you pay us. And I hope we can move forward. Yes, sir.
Can I say one thing quick? I know
Go ahead.
to get up 5 minutes. Just real quick. We talk about safety here, right? We've addressed, I hate to pick on the sober living, whatever. My main concern is safety. Well, just very recently,
recently, they backed into my son's car, I have it on video, and left. The van was full of all sober living people, second chance, whatever you want to do. You hit a car, you see on the video, the whole car moves, they take off and didn't say a word. Not one word.
Did you call-
the cops
Sir, you're,
and
Did you,
file a report?
did you call the cops?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
There's a report being filed right now. But I don't want to hear all this BS, oh, give everybody a chance. You know, it's a revolving door. Every day there's somebody else in this house. I have to worry about the safety of my family. I didn't move down here to be worried about my family. I'm not here every day. I work in the city hours away. Who's looking out for me and my family? That's what I want to know.
Now, we all know that is an unlicensed facility. I spoke with her and we spoke about it, that even state has given the clearance. This is an unlicensed facility. We want to know, when are you guys shutting it down?
so, ma'am, we did speak on the phone, and I will address this, even though this really can't be a back and forth. But the state is aware that there's an unlicensed facility. The state is the only one that can shut down this facility, and we are working with the state for enforcement. We were right on it the day after the last meeting. That is why you saw the state there that week. And we have an ordinance today. We can't really go quicker than this. We're doing the best we can.
I just want to give you a little bit more information what's going on.
I understand, and I hear it. I'm,
In the meantime, my kid's car gets screwed up, his first car.
and that is a police,
Backed right in and right out.
I hear you, and that is a police violation that I hope can get addressed by the police.
You shouldn't park in the street. We live there. Where else are we supposed to park?
I'm absolutely hearing you.
Very frustrating. In the meantime, my kid's the scapegoat. That's all I have to say.
I'm hearing you.
All right,
and
listen, let's
yeah.
continue. If after the meeting's over, you guys want to stay again and we'll talk again, all right? Well, let's do it again. Progress is being made, okay? I know some of you are not happy with the progress. I'm not happy with some of the progress, okay? It's clear, right? So it's, little by little moving forward, we just need to take a deep breath and try to get, this rental, these overoccupied homes, these single-family homes, that issue is number one priority. Single-family occupancy, not multifamily occupancy, and, safety for our first responders. Of course, nobody ever wants to talk about them. A house goes up in flames 3 o'clock in the morning. The fire department pulls up, they think it's a 3-bedroom ranch, because that's what's on the books. And then they go in and there's fake walls and there's mattresses everywhere and dressers and bags of clothes, putting their lives in danger, putting the residents in danger. It's not fair, guys. Listen, we understand. But there's so much red tape that's got to get cut in some of these instances to get stuff done. And, it's just the common sense stuff, is, like I told you last week, you would think is easy, but the common sense stuff, nowadays is not common sense anymore. No more, we're done with the public comment. We're done. I'm sorry, we're done. I'll come down after, or you can address this, okay? Thank you. All right, we're gonna move on to consent agenda items. Does anyone wish to vote on any of these consent agenda items separately? I'm seeing no. Resolutions?
Resolution R25-221, authorizing a contractual sale increase for the chief of police. R25-22, authorizing the township to enter an agreement with the government strategy group for services to assist in the search to fill township manager position. R25-223, accepting resignation of Fred Gager from township council.
I'll make a motion?
Second.
Councilwoman Fisher?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell? Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The consent resolutions pass.
All right, on to Resolution R-25-224.
Resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Howell authorizing the township to enter into an agreement with John O. Gross as interim township manager.
Motion?
Make a motion to accept?
Second.
Councilwoman Fisher?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Thank you. Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The resolution passes.
Unfinished business, adoption, none at this time, right? We have-
There's nothing at this time.
All right.
We
And on
haven't, we
to-
haven't.
Introduction of the ordinance.
Ordinance 25-33, an ordinance amending Chapter 188, Land Use of the Township, of the Howell Township Administrative Code to supplement with regulations regarding cooperative sober living residences.
I'll make a motion to introduce same ordinance.
I'll second.
Councilman Fisher?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is properly introduced.
Just for the audience clarification, the reason why second hearing and public adoption was not till September 16th, this is a land use ordinance, and it has to go to the public, it has to go to the planning board before we can actually adopt. So if you'd like to be heard on the second hearing, please come at the September 16th meeting.
All right, our next regular scheduled meeting is going to take place on August 12th at 7 PM. So, executive sessions at 6. And I encourage everyone to make an appearance again. And I don't mind you guys coming, and let's talk about the issues, and let's try to get these issues resolved, and, work with the taxpayers, because that's what we're up here to do, okay? And, I've been out this week, like I said before, doing some stuff, and it's interesting what's going on in certain parts of town. So, as I see there's no further business, may I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.